because I refuse to not be first.
Do we do enough? Well, I never shut up about it.
It must have been about 16, 17. We nicked their guilt rings. Right, the bouncer's guilt ring.
This is no good for me. That's the reality. If you want the honest truth, and I see it every day.
Hello and welcome to Raw, the Fight Within podcast with myself, KUGAN CASSIUS. This week I'm delighted to be joined by former world champion, just a nice guy really,
Yeah.
Barry Jones.
You run out of boxes, did you?
Absolutely not.
You've run out of boxes, and I'm the last one you come
Absolutely not.
to.
How dare you?
I said you saw me down the street and said, no, nice to see you, mate. How are you?
To be fair, I did pull you, not aggressively obviously, just
You are aggressive.
I said to you like, you haven't really done my podcast. I said this to you a few weeks
You
ago.
you never asked me. You did. You joke. All joking aside, you do sort of. Cause I know I do stuff with Tevitt all the time, and you do say you never do my stuff. Like you never fucking ask me, and I don't. But I don't get the asking about that because I understand. The more the demographic for your stuff, and then what that is, what you'd want off, what he wants off me, and what you would want off me, are two different things. And that's true. And that's no slight. This is what you do is fantastic.
I just want your love.
No, you got my love. You got my love. You got my love.
How are you, first of all?
I'm good, mate. I'm really good, actually. Yeah. You look for things to moan about, and I'm really bad for it. But things could be a lot worse, can they?
They could be.
Do you know what I mean? I'm still working. That's the somehow.
What else?
Everyone sacks me, and I still soldier on. Can't get the words out. Not pissed. Soldier on somehow.
Do you think you're underrated?
No, you are where you are. You like I don't know. I do see things on Twitter. Of course I do all the good stuff and the bad stuff. But I do say I get more good stuff than bad stuff. Obviously, I understand that. But you can't take it to heart. Otherwise, I'd be walking around with a big head thinking I was the best fucking pundit commentator, and I'm not. And that's the truth. Yeah, I'm not. It is what it is. I get work when I get work. People work, and I'm thankful for it. But I do understand that being famous, which I'm not, is a bigger draw for a TV company or a broadcaster than some old guy, who knows a bit about boxing. That's pretty much what it is. So yeah, and also every time someone retires, I'm like, oh fucking hell. It's another job I lost. You know what I mean? I mean, when Carl Frampton retired, I went, oh, here we go. That's me out of work. Especially a boxer who knows what they're talking about. And then you've got some other good boxers now who might be on the end of their careers. Warringtons, people like that. And if they want to come into TV, then that pushes me further down the scale. So, but, you got to just keep up with the game and just trust yourself. And whoever I work for, I do the best job I can do for them. If they want to use me again, I'm happy. And if they don't, then, I've never left the company with a bad taste in my mouth. I've had a bad taste in my mouth. I've always said thank you to the people who've given me work, even if I've left and I felt a bit hard done by, or the things didn't sit right. I've always said thank you for the work, because you never know.
Yeah, you don't come across as someone that kind of mums about stuff and believe that the industry owes you a living, if that makes sense.
Listen, do you know why it doesn't owe me a living? I mean, I get upset, like everyone else, I get upset and sad about, why haven't I got a contract on Sky? Why am I still on BT all the time? Why, all these things. But there's only give me loads of work, and I'm happy for that. But then I'll miss one show, and I'm like, why am I doing that all the time? Or we all like that. Nothing's enough. But it doesn't owe me a living, because who the fuck am I? I had my last fight in January 2000. I wasn't a huge name when I was boxing, though I was a world champion. I wasn't a big star, and that's fine. That wasn't ever my focus or ambition to be that person. And I was out of the game for 10 years, 11 years, literally, like working. I didn't go nowhere near boxing. I watched boxing on TV because I'm a boxing fan. But I didn't go to shows. The only shows I used to go to were Joe Kawasaki because he was a friend of mine. That was it. I wouldn't go to any of the shows. And I was involved in the amateur game on the outskirts. I helped out my mate train a few kids now and again, out of just interest, and I had a normal job. And then I got somehow Box Nation started and drew me back in. So I know more for what I do now than I am than my boxing career. A bit like Glenn McCrory when he went on Sky. More people knew him for what he did as a fantastic commentator on Sky than they did for any of his boxing fights. That's just the fact.
Johnny Nelson to a certain degree.
No, see, Johnny's different. Well, that's this generation now for Johnny. But Johnny, there was a point there where we were we had a massive void of champions. We had no champions, and he was our only one. So he kept skyboxing afloat for a while. Now, we can argue about how good he was and who he boxed. They wasn't loads. He didn't box loads of great fighters, but he boxed some really good ones, and actually, he boxed some good fighters who those wins age better after the fact. Do you know what I mean? Down the line, but. The new generation just know him from Sky, but actually, he had 18 defences and he kept boxing afloat for a little while because he was the only champion I think Frank Warren had for a little bit. So I think his place is deserved. I get all the time like you're a better pundit than Johnny. I get that all the time, quite often. I get more praise when Sky got a show than I do when I actually work, and I've had that since Box Nation because people always want to dig out the bigger platform, and I go, well, maybe I am, maybe I'm not. I think I know more about the sport because I'm in it more. He doesn't need to know about who's 6-0. He just needs to know about the big stuff. And he's a great talker, and so he beats me on a lot of other positive points. I would say that. It's like a Johnny Nelson dig out here, like John, I'm coming for you. No, I mean, but I'm not after his job. I can't get his job. His job's not in my reach. So I don't look at Tony Bellows' job. That job's not in my reach. I can't compete with him. I can't compete with David Hay. So all these things I hear about me being this or that, and you'll find plenty of people who think I talk shit as well. Enough of those. So, it's your flavour of the month one week and you're a pile of shit the next.
Life. All right, let's get started into this.
Yeah, I thought that was it. I thought we finished.
No, we've not even started. That was like a
prequel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Prelims. What is the one thing you would change about your life currently? Nothing to do with boxing.
Height. Height or hair? Fuck. Height. I'd be taller if I could.
You'd want to be taller?
Oh, yeah, I would. Not you're tall because you're weird. But don't be a fucking freak. Some people go, oh, look at him. No, you're tall. Do you play basketball? Don't want that. I'd like to be taller, I think that's always been a little bit of an issue. So
it would be a physical attribute?
I think so, yeah, but I don't know. I mean, because I'm relatively happy, though you speak to my missus, I'm always moaning because this sport, but that this being involved in this sport makes you constantly moan and groan about stuff. It does, doesn't it? Even though you love it, it's a weird sort of concept. But actually my life itself, maybe more outgoing, maybe, because I can talk to anybody, but I don't talk to a lot of people. Like you see me at shows or press conferences, and I'm not like the one who stands in the middle going, hey, hi. No, if you don't talk to me, I won't talk to you. That's not like a fuck you. I'm that sort of way. Like, I don't know if you've noticed.
An introvert?
Not really, maybe. I don't know, but a bit of a contradiction. Maybe I am and I'm not, but I never want to be the centre of attention. But then when I start talking, I don't fucking shut up. And I'm well aware of that, so sometimes I don't start because I know I won't stop. So maybe a little bit more genuinely outgoing in sort of like the average day rather than because it's say for instance when I take my kids, I got adult kids, I also got little kids. So when I take my kids to school, which I love by the way, and I put headphones in. So I'm waiting for my boy in the school. Yeah, I've got headphones. I don't listen to music. I put the headphones in so I don't have to talk to the other parents. Like why would I do that? Like, but it's got to a point now. That's 3 years in the same school. They don't want to talk to me now anyway.
Do you actually do? Are you actually playing music as well though?
No, I tap my foot. No, and I tap my foot and everything sometimes. No, I tap my foot and everything. I really play it out like on my own. No one gives a shit about me, by the way. But I remember one time I heard two women, and they're lovely women probably, talking about real mundane stuff, and I went, oh fucking hell. And they heard me, and I went, oh no, I'm on the phone. But so maybe my missus always moans about that because I don't drink, and so like we don't go out anywhere sort of thing for pubs and stuff. So we don't really. She's like, oh, you're antisocial. There you go. I want so antisocial because I'm not a partier. I did all my crazy stuff, and I'd never drunk since I was 17, by the way. But I did all my crazy, stupid stuff when I was young, and I had a great young life up until about mid-20s. And then I ran a pub for a while, and that put me off all the shit. And and I just know what my temperament's like, so I don't like going out to too many clubs. I don't go to too many pubs. I'm never the last person to leave any fucking venue. ever, because that's when all the trouble starts. And I'm somehow gravitated towards. I've known a lot of boxers like this. I'm gravitated towards. I got this hero complex that I think, you know, if someone's picking on something, I think I got to go over and try and save them. And like, what the fuck am I gonna do? Look at me, like I'm like 5 foot in a fag butt. Like, what am I gonna do? But I got that sort of like, oh, don't do that. Oh, leave me alone. Like, then my bit. So I'm well aware. And I think to stop me doing that has made me a bit more of an introvert about things. Yeah. What a weird character.
Yeah. Who, you or me? Difficult one, this. If you weren't or hadn't been involved in the business of boxing, what do you think you'd be doing now, or what do you like to have thought you would be doing now?
Well, my ambition would have been as a kid to be a basketball player. That's crazy. I know. But yeah,
Are you being serious?
I love basketball.
All right.
I love it, like, with a passion. Like, when Kobe Bryant died, I cried. I haven't cried anything. I haven't cried with my grandfather. My grandfather was my hero, my god, by the way. He died last year. I haven't cried over him yet. But Kobe Bryant, like, oh, so sad, like. But I love basketball. I absolutely love it. Everything about it. I mean, I'll watch it, and my missus hates it because I'll just go, look at him. See the little fella? She'll go, yeah. I'll go, he's 6'2". That little fella, you know, because they're massive. Like, so, yeah, I want to be tall. I love tall people. But yeah, I love basketball. I would have loved to have been a basketball player. No, if I had different attributes. But I would have been an electrician, because I was an electrician. I was an apprentice electrician when I boxed. I worked up until I won the world title, by the way. I worked and I boxed. So yeah, I would have been an electrician, I think, like my dad was, and my grandfather was an electrician's mate, and my uncle did a bit of that as well. So I think that I would have been doing something like that.
So your realistic trade could have been electrician,
I would have earned more money.
And your fantasy trade would have been.
I would have been a point guard for the Lakers. Yeah.
Okay, I like it. But I mean, what is actually the shortest ever basketball player?
No, there's been 5'7", and I'm 5'7", but I think I'm a little bit shorter than that. But I'm listed at 5'7". I think I'm just under. But yeah, so you know, there has been shorter ones than me, but you have to be phenomenally good. Like, especially, I wasn't no good. I was rubbish. I mean, I played for my county and I had trials for Wales, but then there was only about 6 kids who wanted to play for the team anyway, and I couldn't get on it. So there's 5 in a team. They didn't want to sub. I was so bad. No, but I love basketball, so that's what I would have done if I was good at it. But I found what I was relatively good at. I think I've never been as good at anything else except boxing.
Do you remember the first ever fight you got into?
Yeah. Oh, what? A boxing match?
Nothing to do with boxing.
Ooh, vaguely. I've been picked on. I was a happy-go-lucky kid. I was, and quite shy. My brother was the other way. He was quite aggressive. Ginger, see. Bright ginger, my brother was, so he took a lot of stick for that, and something turned in him, and then I still call him Ginger now, like, and he lost his hair like 20, 30 years ago, but I still call him Ginger. But so he did all the fighting for me, I guess, though I didn't really cause trouble. But I was about, on my nan's Snowdon Road I lived in then, so I probably would have been about 9 maybe, and he made me fight this kid. Yeah. I can't remember what happened. I think I won. I can't remember.
Made you?
Yeah, but I was being bullied. The kid was bullying,
Right.
and the brother was there, and he went having it. He dragged me, he said, come here. And he said to the big brother, you can shut up. Like, you know, my brother's only 3.5, 4 years older than me. And he go and fight. And I didn't want to fight the kid, and I had to. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know what it was. Probably bang, bang, hold.
Did you have any concepts of fighting at that age?
No. Again, I didn't really go down a boxing gym until I was like 9.5 or something, so no. I wasn't really massive into any sports back then. I can't remember too much of that age because I'm punch drunk. But I did sports, but I didn't have a passion for anything until boxing really, and then basketball when I was about 13. But yeah, with boxing, I fell in love with boxing because I'm hyperactive. Even now I'm 50 pretty much, and even though I can't keep still, I'm always fidgety like this all the time. And so as a kid, I wasn't aggressive, but I would have been tagged with something. I would have been ADHD or something. They would have put me on drugs, that guaranteed. But boxing, that's why I like basketball and boxing, because you're always involved. Even when you haven't got the ball in basketball, you're always involved. And boxing, again, it's always you doing stuff. Like other sports, like I was quite fast, so football, they put me in right midfield. But when you're 11, no one passes, it's all down the middle. Or rugby, put you on the wing. Fucking on the wing when you're 12, 13, 14, the ball never comes to you. So I get bored quite easily, yeah.
Talk to me about a time in your life, not again away from boxing, that you felt as though you were fighting a losing battle in your life.
I mean, I've had so many of them. A lot of them since after I won the world title, ironically, and not boxing related. I mean, everything's boxing related with me. That's unfortunately the problem. Yeah. But I guess when my eldest daughter, who's 30 now in October of this year, 2023, just in case you're watching on YouTube in 10 years' time, me and mum split when she was young, and they did the right thing. She went back to, like, in Cardiff, and they lived up by Chester, and they moved back up there, and that was quite hard, I would say, like probably the hardest thing ever, because like she's a little baby, and she takes her, you know, and but she did the right thing, because she lives in a lovely area, she's lovely, and a lovely family, and where I lived was a shithole. Like, I love where I'm from, but you know, I'd rather bring a kid up in a nice middle class area than where I grew up. But the people, I don't want to slag where I grew up, because it was great. People were great and lovely, but it was a work class area, council estate with not much money, so you want better for your kids. Money's not always better, but when you haven't got money, it always seems like money is the better option, because you can do more and give them more and give them a better opportunity, and that's sort of true. So yeah, that was a hard time. That was because I was driving back to Chester all the time, and it just seemed like this is not going to last. How can I keep doing this? And I tried as much as I could, and because me and the mum at the time, you know, we were still had feelings, I guess. You know, maybe her more than me, and then me more than her, or whatever it was. It doesn't matter. But you know, and with feelings, then becomes the arguing and the hate and all that. You know, anyone who's had kids and split up, they know what it's all about. So that was an issue, and that took a while. Now we're best as friends. Now, like, you'd think me and the mum were still sleeping together, but so friendly. We're not, obviously, but you know, it's all just is what it is. You know, she's got a family and moved on, and got a husband who's a better guy than I ever could be, you know, as a person. And you know, and I moved on with my mission. I got 2 new kids and stuff. So it's and I'm a granddad. You know, like with 2 granddaughters. So you know, it's turned out okay. But that was hard. That was quite difficult. And then the losing battle was what I did with my life once the brain scan stuff set in, and after Freitas, when I just couldn't fight, I didn't want to fight. I just like, it killed me, and I didn't know what to do. What to do with myself? Like, what the fuck? What can I do now? Like, I don't want to be an electrician anymore. Like, I've never earned I was earning a decent living, but I was never earning loads of money. I was never mega famous. But it's, you know, that worst part where people know you, but they don't really know you. But you know, if you get like, you know, if I'm collecting trolleys at Tesco's, which is nothing wrong with that, people are going to go, oh, look at him. You know, oh, he's a world champion, wasn't he? Is that Barry? Or whatever, you know, it's worse for people with bigger names. And it's because boxing, you know, you're earning a wage, but not enough to sit, unless you're a heavyweight or really super talent, you're not sailing off to the sunset with loads of money. That's just the fact. And I was 25 when I had my last fight. So, and that was hard. So I moved to London. With no, what you do? Move to London, spend more money, and I sort of, and then I got aggressive, because I just pent the frustration, and I had to find an outlet. So I started running a pub, and so I'm a frustrated little man, I'm a little frustrated man with loads of issues who just keep swallowing it, and then I surround myself with fucking pissheads, plastic gangsters, and all that crap, like, so. That felt like a losing battle, because I said, what the fuck am I going to do with my life here now? You know, literally, I didn't know, like, I begrudged everything for a little while. But you get through it, like everything in life, you know, you get through it. Put a smile on your face, and you move on, and you try and find a way, and you surround yourself with good people, all that crap. I didn't do that. I just thought somehow I just got, and I had a bit of luck at the green, and I met a couple of people, and I got a bit of luck, and I started doing a few nice little easy jobs for other places, and so I could leave the pub. And then my life went on from there. Yeah. Then,
what are the everyday battles for you today?
like everyone else, pay the mortgage, innit? I'm freelance, so, and I've had a good time with it lately, to be honest. But like, I'm in a different country every month at the minute. But yeah, it's that, just my mortgage. That's the biggest. That's my big. I've got young kids. I'm an old dad. So, like 5 and 7, and 30. That's the biggest age. That's the ranges of my kids. So it's kind of an old dad. It's that worry about that. I got to keep earning money, and so you just never know. No, I'm in Abu Dhabi. I know I'm in Dubai sometimes, and I'm in Vegas and Poland. And, but it's not always the case. So every month I am going to work. So I get to like the 20th of every month, and I got no work quite often, and then by the 28th, I'm quite busy. So I'm quite lucky that, but and because I'm not a knock your door sort of bloke. I couldn't sell anything, so I can't sell myself. That's my biggest downfall for me as a person. I'm undersell myself continuously. I joke about myself. That's my little thing, isn't it? I take the piss about myself and self-deprecating it's called, isn't it? But so I'm not very good at selling myself to other potential employers, because I'm thick as shit, and I keep going, oh, you know, I'm all right, but I'm not that good. You know, I can't bullshit myself into any jobs.
Why are you so harsh on yourself?
No, I don't know. It's just the way I am. I don't know. I grew up in a place where, you know, like if you were big-headed, you were brought down to earth. So you never would no matter how good you are, you know, it was like, whoa, that don't fly here. Like, you don't care if you're the best boxer on the planet or the biggest, whatever your life is, you're one of us. And so I sort of do that to keep myself level. And also, you know, it's like, yeah, I don't know. I just the way I am, I guess. I just don't like, and I joke about my world title stuff. I always put it down because I love boxing, and I think there's too many world champions, too many titles, and I've thought that when I was boxing, but I'm a byproduct of that, and I benefited from that, so I'm thankful for it. But I'm also well aware in what it should be about, what worth my world title and many others more than me, how much they really are really worth. So yeah, with that in mind, I sort of always put, I'm a world champion. I was, you know, that's just a fact. But you know, there was a lot of other fighters at my weight that were better than me, and that can be said for genuine world champions. But you know, with more titles, there's more opportunities. But with more titles, there's more fragmentation, which means you're not going to get the same quality of a champion as you would have in the 80s, for instance, when there was only 2.
So it never really gets questioned if you're an undisputed champion. Apart from that, if you're an undisputed champion, I suppose.
No, but there are some fighters who you could just say, you know, if Errol Spence never, you know, no Errol Spence, genuine world champion, no, he just got beat by Crawford. Even if he didn't, even if you know, win the fight or not, he's a genuine world class fighter. Would have been a good fight in any era, and he's proven that. But you know, there's other fighters who slip through the radar, and I'm one of them. And there's more than me. There's loads of us everywhere. And if we all stood up and said what I said, no, what I've been saying for years, then, and I hope they would have, but no one did, then boxing would be a better place, because the boxers wouldn't believe it. No, boxing never so. But Jim McDonnell had a chance to box for the WBO title in the early 90s. He turned it down. He'd be a world champion now, Jim McDonnell. Turned it down because he didn't rate it at the time for him. No, there was already, by the way, the WBO by then was already partly established because they had some good champions. The IBF is only a few years older than the WBO, but they had Larry Holmes as their flagship champion, so that gave them more credence automatically. So that gets more credit, but maybe it shouldn't. But nowadays, it don't matter what belt you got, because they're all great and shit in the same measure. But they are, they all do great stuff and shit stuff, you know, in the same breath. So you know, there's no one. The WBC used to be the one that was held up as the highest, the best one you could win. But now maybe it's not. Everyone wants to be have the green belt, but they've made some of the worst decisions in recent times for their champions, and Bridgerweight now another one, all those things. And so, and the WBA is the oldest belt, by the way. And look at the fucking things they do. They have like 4 champions a weight. You know, they're making their own rules. You know, it's ridiculous. So, yeah, I got the best belt. There you go.
I know you touched on this a little while ago, as in today in this, but would you call yourself like an emotional person? Like you mentioned there,
Yeah.
about, like you cried when Kobe Bryant died, but didn't cry.
Yeah, so I am an emotional person. I mean, I don't, like I'm not a crying and a screamer and all that, but I am a sensitive soul. And all boxers. I think a lot of them are quite sensitive. But I think I am, yeah. Yeah, so yeah, things affect me like massive, like, but they do so. We're trying to find out we're like unique. I think we're all trying to make it we're unique because we did boxing and we're not. You know, like I think we all oversell it a little bit. But you know, like yeah, like I'm just as much as you are. You know, some things make me happy, some things make me sad. I could watch, you know, I'll watch gruesome murders on the telly and not blink an eye, and then I'll watch like sports films make me weep up. You know those stupid sports films where they come back from adversity. I'm like that. Oh, this is so sad. Like, you know, so you know, it's like yeah. But things affect me. Like things, I don't care about fighters winning or losing. I don't care. I watch someone get knocked out and not care. I can't read about kids. You're a dad now. You understand that. I can't read about kids, no, or no, people hurting kids, you know, paedophiles, all that stuff. Kids can't read it. I don't. My missus goes, I go, don't fucking tell me. I can't because it'll stay in my head for weeks. By the way, I don't forget. By the way, I'm one of those guys. Like I fuck, it stays in there. Like even if I don't show it and I let it go, it's there all the time. So people have upset me now. I met one today. You'll never know who it is. And they didn't do something massive to me, but they did something I didn't like. I had like a few years ago, like work related, and I can never forget it. They know what they don't know. I don't know. I've never said it to them. I never will. It's fucking great. This is now. Guess who? But
Well, they're here today.
well, they might be. But I spoke to them today. Now, they might be in the UK or over here. Who knows when I saw them? But I can't. When I see him, first thing I think of is, yeah, you fucking cunt. And then I speak to him because you got to get it. You got to move on, haven't you, in life? But yeah, I can never let it go in my head. And me, 15 years ago, would have just gone up and said, "You're a fucking cunt, you are," and then he might have filled me in. I don't know. You know, I'm not a hard man, I'm not a tough guy, but I would have said it because I couldn't keep it in back then. But as older you get, you realise you've got to swallow stuff and move on. And having kids gives you that realisation that you have to swallow stuff and move on, because otherwise you'd be fucking stopping your car and fighting every guy who beeps you on at you, wouldn't you? You know what I mean? Which I used to do, by the way. But so yeah, so I am. Yeah, I can be quite emotional.
How prominent do you think depression is in boxing? And has it affected you in your career?
I don't. I know. Yeah, I felt. I don't want to say depression because it's a serious issue. I think it is quite a problem. The problem you get with life is highs and lows in everyone's walk, but in sports, I think it's the highs and lows are greater because it's your ambition as a kid. All you want to be is a boxer, footballer, whatever the sport is. For us, it's boxing. So all I want to be is a world champion. I get it. And then 3 months, 4 months later, I'm told I've got a problem with my brain scan and I can't fight ever again. It's like fucking hell, there to there. Like it's like I told people it's like winning the lottery. It was like winning the lottery. Walk into the Camelot offices, opening the door, and the fucking ticket blowing on your fingers. Like, I've just won the lottery. Oh, no, I can't prove it now. I haven't, no, yeah, that's what I felt like. I'm champion of the world. I can't believe my luck. Everything I've dreamed of, and now I can't even fight again. So those highs and lows can make you sink really bad.
They're extreme highs and lows, aren't they?
And it's like that for everyone, because it might be Commonwealth title and not fighting again. And I know loads of kids who were like 11-0, 6-0, 7-0 when I was boxing, and then they just don't fight again because they can't get a fight and they got to work and earn no money. So but bear in mind, when we're all schoolboys, we're all brilliant. We're all going to be a super world champion. Most of the kids who turn pro, they've all won those British schoolboy titles or junior ABAs. Peter Buckley, the journeyman who had 300 fights, he was a junior ABA champion. He turned pro with ambition. Yeah. And then realised either he wasn't as good as he thought he was, or he did more money selling tickets. Jordan Granham, really good amateur boxer, can't sell a ticket, so he goes on the road and he's earned more than most prospects. But no, I couldn't do that. I can't swallow that. I got admiration for people like that, but for me, I couldn't do it. It was all about winning for me. Competing, not winning, competing was more important than winning. Winning's everything, but I mean, to be competitive in a fight, that's all you can do is your best. And once you come against someone who's better than you, it's okay. But so depression and that, and also taking punches in the head, can't be any good for you. And the long-term effect can be bad, and that can trigger depression. Added with all the highs and lows shit you got to put up with as well. I know you're easily forgotten, and I don't blame anyone for this, but you know, one day your promoters, promising you the world, and then you retire and they don't even ask if you retired. That's what happened to me. So they weren't offering me the world, but I retired. I didn't have a big I didn't have a big statement. I just didn't box again. That was it. But no one ever phoned me. No one ever phoned from my, it was Frank Warren's. I'm not digging them off. I'm not digging them out, sorry. Digging them off, I don't know what that means. I'm not digging them out. Because they give me, they got a world title through them. You know, I'm indebted in that way, but they didn't. There was no phone call, and I don't think I'm in the minority probably in that regard. I would think that happens to a lot. I just didn't box again, and no one ever rang me. And it was like, but I didn't care. But I mean, if I did care, that would be a real problem. I mean, obviously I do care, 'cause I've just fucking mentioned it, but I didn't care at the time about that. Cause I just didn't want to know boxing, but that happens, you know, and you can't blame them because their life moves on. Because they're still working tomorrow and they're still building other fighters, and it's your responsibility to badger them for work. That's your responsibility to keep them on their toes, to make you get you work, and you should tell them. But you just think someone should phone you somewhere. There's no like. I think the duty of care in boxing is not really there, and it's only there for the bigger names. I understand that because they're the ones you want to protect, because they're the ones who are making you the living. People like me don't make fucking anyone a living. So I think that depression thing in boxing could be added with all the trauma of taking punches to the head for 20 years for some of them. Then yeah, it's a real problem. I do say about boxing all the time that people always go on about the aftercare in boxing. And I think it's important. But if there was real aftercare in boxing, real aftercare, there'd be no fucking boxing. There'd be no boxing. If there was a proper aftercare scheme, and you see boxers from the past, how damaged quite a few of them are, then there'd be a massive case to ban boxing for good.
Do you think?
Of course it would, because it's fatality. All people care about is fatalities in the ring. What happens whilst you're boxing? Once you're retired, they forget about you. I had a problem with the brain scan. The problem with my brain scan was there might have been a chance when I had a problem with my brain scan. I didn't technically fail a scan at all, but there was an issue with my scan that there was a possibility that I might suffer from increased senility in later life. Might in later life. They're the two big words, because might, no proof, and in later life, none of your fucking business. So my argument was, that's a moral decision, not a medical decision, because there's no proof there's anything wrong with me now whilst I'm a license holder. So what happens in my later life shouldn't be no concern of yours, because if we're going down that pathway, well, I can go walk around now with the Xbox Association and bring a load of people to sue you then for damage. You know what I mean? I don't blame the British boxing, but it was a real bad time for them at the time, and the people involved, personally, I didn't like any of them, but now they're just doing their job. They're trying to save their sport. And if some little fighter like me collapses in the ring, totally unrelated to what my scam was, that'll be drawn upon, and the sport's in a bad place. So I understand that, but at the time for me, it didn't give a fuck. Mm. But that's what I say about the whole aftercare with boxing and the brain damage and depression and all that. It all ties up. I don't know what. There's loads of things I've done in the past that I sort of regret. But I don't really know, mate. I don't think. See, I'm one of these guys who I'm not really proactive, so things happen to me, and then I just react off that. Like my boxing, really. That's how I used to box. I was a reactive boxer, but I'm pretty much like that. So I find it hard to regret, because I always think if I've had a fight, I haven't had many. If I had a fight, you started it, or if I've said something bad to somebody, you said something first. I always have something in my head about that. But not really. I don't think so. I don't think there's anything. People who know me might watch this and go, there was loads of fucking things. But off the top of my head now, it's almost midnight. I can't really think of anything except for that one crazy story. Yeah.
Who's been the biggest influence in your life away from boxing?
My dad. And my grandfather. But I say my dad. My grandfather's my hero, because he was just the nicest man I knew. So I can never get away from that. And I feel sorry for my dad, because he's already minus being a dad, because he had such a great dad. Can never be as good as him. But him, and it is, again, it cannot be boxing related, because like my mum was great and all, and we grew up in the hard times and hard area and all the rest of it. But they went without so much, actually, the pair of them. So me and my brother could chase a dream as a kid. So fucking you can't pay that. You can't fucking pay that back. can't pay it back. You know, he said you win a world title pays it back, or you win, you know, going to European, you win the Southern Europeans pays it back, or my brother win a British schoolboy title. They all, but you know, it doesn't, like, because they sacrifice stuff, and you don't, as a kid, you don't realise how much your parents are spending and costing. And we had no money, you know. You just don't understand, do you? And all of a sudden you go, fucking hell, like, you know, we didn't go on holiday, so my brother could go and box in Sweden, or, you know, I could go to Canada for the World Championships, and someone had to pay for that. You know, I never fucking paid for it. I'm 18, 17. I'm not paying for nothing, am I? You know, and so yeah, yeah. So it's my parents, I guess. I'm not really one of these. I'm not a mummy and daddy sort of guy. I'm my own person. I always have been. So I'm not really. I've been quite independent from like 16, but I still, even that, I've been independent from it. But I haven't been independent. I think I've been independent from 16. But there was always a we had no money, but there's always a comfort there, and there's always a parachute to save you if when you do things wrong. So even my dad straight away. I hit somebody once in a club. Right, no, but he felt like he hit his head on the floor, and he was in a bad way, and I didn't know what to do, and I panicked. So I ran away, like, you know, fuck. Anyway, I phoned a fucking taxi for him, and they takes me to the hospital. A taxi. I went for an ambulance. I didn't want to get arrested, and he started on me, by the way. He picked on me. That just make that sure, right? He picked on me. He wasn't big. He was bigger than me. But I just caught. He's pissed, and he couldn't see. I've caught him. He fell on his back of his head. First one I found was my dad. I mean, I'm up in London. He's down there, and I gone, Dad, fucking, I think I've done something wrong here. And like the first one to phone up was him. So you think you're independent, but when the shit hits the fan.
All right. Well, we've had to pick this back up, but we don't know really where it kind of ended. You were talking about the biggest influence being your grandfather and your father, your parents, as such. So I don't know. Maybe you could just because it's like a 3-minute gap here. People don't realise.
So it's my parents. Yeah, and I say my dad because it's all, even though you don't want a boxing related story, it's all boxing related, unfortunately, because the sacrifices they make. Like all parents, we'll do it. You'll do the sacrifice you make so your kids can can chase a dream. That's what it is. There was a kid. I might not want to be a boxer next year. You know what I mean? Like, but they sacrifice stuff, and we didn't have a lot of money. He's working, you know, and all the time, and then I'm going to Canada. Who's got to pay for that? Or my brother's going to Sweden, the boxing tournament. Someone has to pay for that, and they go without, and you sort of don't appreciate it at the time because you just take it for granted. And you say, how can I? And you can't pay that back. I can never pay back the sacrifices. Certainly my dad made for me. Travel around the world to see me and my brother box on a shoestring budget, and did it. How can I pay you back? And he would say, well, you won a world title, or, you know, my brother won a British schoolboy title. I won a European silver medal. But it's not. That's not paying him back. Like, because I'm getting something out of that. So, you know, and I've always been quite I'm not like a mummy and daddy type of boy, you know, but I've been quite an independent person, you know, since I was 16, really. But then saying that, you know, I think I was independent, but at 16, I'm still relying on them for stuff, but I just don't think I am. But I've never been, no, I've always been my own sort of person, like, not alone as such, but I've always been my own sort of person. So, you know, I never really badgered them for stuff. You know what I mean? I live my own life. But my dad's still the first person. I'll call, something's wrong. Maybe 15 years ago, I had a fight with somebody who picked on me, by the way, and I just caught. He was drunk. I caught him with a shot, but he hit his head on the floor and he was in a bad way. So the first person I phoned up was my dad. About to panic. First person I phoned up. Not an ambulance. My dad. Fucking hell, I've done something here. I've done something wrong here, mate. You know, that was the first one I phoned up, and then he's going, well, hang up the phone, Barry, like, and then phone, like, make sure the guy's okay first, and then ring me back, like, so he's not breathing. He was breathing. He's not fucking breathing. You couldn't wake him up, like. It's not me. He hit the floor with the weight. He's a big fat lump he was, and he's hit the floor. That's what's happened. But, like, you know, I'm not proud of it, and, you know, and if he was sober, he probably would have battered me, but it was just one of those things, like. But I phoned him up. What the panic? The first. So being an independent sort of guy, he's still the one I'll phone up. So you know, so it's them, my parents, because they do everything for you, and you don't realise until you're a parent yourself how much of a pain in the ass and a beautiful pain in the ass is having kids. if that makes any sense. You must understand that.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
lovely,
starting to anyway.
it's the loveliest thing ever, but it's a constant fucking worry and a pain in your ass.
How old are you now?
I'll be 50 in May.
50 in May. Yeah. If you could go back in time, so you're 50, let's just call you 50.
Yeah, 50,
for
I
the
think so, yeah.
benefit of this. You can go back in time now, and you can go and advise a 25-year-old Barry Jones. You've got 5 minutes. What would you say to a 25-year-old Barry Jones, if you could say anything?
Fuck, yeah. It's never too late. And I mean that with opportunities and stuff. Because bear in mind, 25 is a good age. Cause I done my last fight at 25, and I thought, what am I going to do? I can't do anything. On paper, I can't do nothing. And I think, looking back now, 25, I could have been anything I wanted to be, within reason. You still got to have the mental capacity, but I could have done lots of stuff. And it would be that. And certainly be more, be riskier. I would say. I think that's probably more than anything. Be riskier. Don't take any risks, me. Very risk averse. Not very brave. In life, I don't think I don't think I am. I think that would be it. Like I had a chance to do the boxercise thing, and it's really posh, like brand new state of the art thing. And they were like, and boxercise wasn't like boxing training within like in the fitness industry wasn't really around at the time. It was a place in Kensington, and he was a lovely bloke. And I met him through a barrister who got my licence back, actually, Bertie Lee. And that would have been a career path for me, and I think I would have been good at that. I think I would have made a fortune doing that. And I lost my ball, because I had a job running a pub for an ex-boxer. And but like 25, I was 27 then, but like, at that age, fucking just do it, innit? What's the worst that can happen? I had my daughter, but like she's already living away. And no, so it's a different setup for me then. I had a bit of more of they weren't solely relying. I was paying for my daughter, but they weren't solely relying on me. Wanted to be on an end all. If I didn't pay, I was just another scumbag dad. I didn't want that. But I mean, you know what I mean. It's not like she goes on food. I could have took a risk, took a gamble, and I don't really do that. And I wish I could now still, because then my dad will say, "But you're only fucking 50. Take a risk." And so I would say that, be risky, be brave, just fucking go for, like I would in the ring. I would fight anybody. I mean, I would. I wasn't fight the fighter, but I would fight anyone. I wasn't scared to box anyone. I wasn't scared of losing. I didn't want to lose. I wasn't scared. I just go for it. And if I get beat up, I get beat up. I can take it on the chin. I've been like that with anything. If people pick on me, I go fucking, I don't want to fight, but I'm not going to fucking want to run away. You'll be the first fucker to film me here, mate. You know what I mean? So like, but like certain situations you're brave because you're comfortable in what you can do. In other situations where you don't know if you can do it, I turn into a shithouse. So it'd be that. Fucking be brave in your life. Yeah.
Bit of a random one, this one. What song explains your life? If there was a song.
Fucking hell.
It can be the title rather than the context of the song, if you choose to be.
Oh, that's a really hard one, that is, mate. I would say, and it's not really the song, but the words "Design for Life" by Manic Preachers. Because I've tried too hard to design my own life without having living it. Do that make any sense? So I'm like, I sound like weirder than when I talk. Like, you want things to be the way you want them to be all the time, and so I think I had an idea, a design of what my life should be. Especially when I started to be successful at boxing, I thought this is what it's going to be, and then anything that diverts from that, I can't understand. Fuck that. I don't want that. I don't like things that splinter off. So the design for life is how I want. This is what I want. The ideal of my life. So I just want that. I don't want anything else. I just want that. I didn't want to be famous. I want to be a world champion. I didn't want to be rich, but I wanted enough money not to worry about money, which is rich, really, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? But I don't want to be driving around in big, massive supercars and all that crap. Playing. I don't want NAS money. No, I don't want. I don't. I mean, I'd have it. I love it, but I mean, I don't. And I don't want Nas fame. But I want to just be. I want to be a champion and be able to have a few defences in my belt, and so I had the design of what I wanted. I mean, genuinely, I had a contract when I won the world title. I had a contract for 4 defences. That's what I want. I don't care if I get that. That just cements for what I think good I can be, and where anything else from that is a massive bonus. But that's what I wanted. But once I set my mind on that design of my life, then when that didn't happen, fucks me up. I can't get my head around it. Same with this job now. I got a design of what I wanted to be, and at the minute it's not quite there, but time's running out in my life. But when I take stock of what I'm doing, I should be happy. I should be over the moon happy. Like I'm busy and I'm working all the time, and but I'm always thinking this is not what I want to be. I wanted this role for this. I want to be stuck in one company doing this role and be more valued and be and set up and stuff. Yeah, design for life.
I don't know the song, but I will give it a listen to.
Yeah, well, I have to drag that out because I didn't really have one.
I know, to be honest with you, that's the sort of thing I probably could have told you about before we did this.
This is good. Well, look at it, mate. It's midnight and we're in
wherever we are.
In the United Emirates. Yeah, we could be anywhere. We're anywhere. Guess where we are.
Right, last one. Answer this however you see the question, like however you perceive the question. What still drives that fight within you when you get up in the morning? What is it about you that, like I said, when you get up in the morning, that still kind of drives every aspect of your life?
Yeah, I don't want to sound too cliche, but I don't know. I can be better, I think, maybe. So yeah, you're always thinking, I can be better there. I can do better. Let me do better today. And I don't every day I'm not one of these. Every day I'll do a little bit better. And I don't think that, but I do. When I'm working, I always think let's do a better job than last time. No, it doesn't always work that way, of course. But that's sort of my thing. I just be better than what I am. But ultimately, to do my very best, I think that's what my thing is. I know my limitations to an extent, and I know I'll be perceived.
We are just picking this back up.
But it's to do. You don't have to say that. Cause I had exactly the fucking sentence I was on. But it's also to be like for your kids to see that you're consistently trying. Because I think it's important. You learn off your parents. You mimic what you see. So being the best. My son taught him about boxing. He's only talks about boxing now, and my belts are hidden away. I don't have them on display. I don't have nothing boxing on display. He knows I work in boxing. He knows I've been a world champion because of the job I do. But he's young. I don't want to box. And people, all these boxers say they don't want their kids to box. They're into boxing. I genuinely don't want them to box. Fucking no. Why would I? Why do I want to see my son get punched in the face? I've no chance. I don't judge anyone else for wanting their kids to do it. Whatever that's your choice, and it's a great sport to do for mental health and and well-being to a level. But when it comes serious, it's not. The fun goes out of it a little bit, and it can get dangerous to a point. The fitness levels and your confidence levels is brilliant, but to see my son trying all the time, I just want him to try. Whatever you do your best at this. So that's why I try and think, let's just do my best at that. And then I can tell him I've done my best. I don't want to be telling him bullshit and telling him something I'm not. Do you know what I mean? They say, oh yeah, I've always did my best, and think, I never fucking did my best. I coasted. And that's it. Really.
Well, you've looked at your life as being a bit of a coaster. I do that. No,
I am a coaster, but when I got something to do, I'll try and do the best I can.
Yeah.
So, but I don't, and I wish I could. And I said this about if I tell my younger self, I would go out searching for work. I have to do it right now because I'm freelance now. Since about 2018, I've been genuinely freelance. So I've had to go out sourcing work, and I'm not great at it. I could be better at it. I'm more forceful, but it's hard because you've got to tell people how great you are. It just sounds like a wanker saying it, doesn't it? But to get more work, you've got to sell yourself. But selling yourself, you've got to tell people how good you are. and that's weird. So I do. So the coasting bit is I'll just know I do coast a little bit too much. But when I got a job, then I'll do that job the best I can. I mean I don't massively study. I know because I know my subject quite well now, so I'll know what I'm seeing. I think. But there's a lot of fighters I don't know about, so I make sure I've done enough research on that fighter. Not their life. I don't even know about their life. That's the main commentator's job. But to know about their career and about how they fight, I need to know that. And so I make sure I get that done. And so when I go to it, like I do a show now, a lot of these fighters I've never seen box. I've had to go and find them on YouTube. And if I can't find them on YouTube, then I'll be honest and say it. But I mean, I'll know I've seen them enough to know how they set up, how their stances, what their strengths and weaknesses are, and you have to do that work. You know, just being a great talker, which some people are, no, is not enough. So my work ethic there is better than as good as anybody's. I mean, when it's time to work, I'll work, but getting work, that's when I coast a little bit. I'm hoping it's just people are just going to come to me. So yeah, that's why you know you don't offer me any work. I'm looking for the job.
That's why you let me into your abode here in wherever we are.
Yeah.
Barry, listen, much appreciate your time. I do appreciate it's late, but yes, love that chat, to be honest with you, because there's a lot of stuff there that I didn't know myself.
Yeah, I sort of regret some of it now. I thought I should go back and do it again, be more sensible.
No, one take wonder.
Do you know what? I am a one-take wonder as well. Do you think just say what you say in it? That's what I felt at the time. You could ask me tomorrow and I'd say loads of different stuff.
Guys, thank you very much for listening. We will see you next week on Raw the Fight Within. Make sure you comment, like and subscribe. Barry, thank you very much.
Cheers, mate.
We are out.
Because I refuse to not be first.
Do we do enough? Well, I never shut up about it.
It must have been about 16, 17. We nicked their guilt rings. Right, the bouncer's guilt ring.
This is no good for me. That's the reality. If you want the honest truth, and I see it every day,